Okay, today we're going to do an oil change on a 2014 Acura MDX. I know this is a basic video, but I'm going to show you some tips and tricks to making this job a little easier. First thing we're going to do is drive the car up on some ramps. We'll put some blocks behind the wheels to stop it from rolling back. We'll put on the parking brake, and you want to make sure that the engine is turned off. And then we'll pop the hood. And once we have the hood popped, then we'll slide an oil pan underneath the vehicle, and right over here is where you drain the oil. So this bolt here will end up taken out with a 17mm wrench. It's a little hard to get off, but once you crack the nut, then you can use your fingers to loosen it. Line up the oil pan and remove your hand quickly. Try not to spill any oil. Now, if the oil is warm, it's going to come out of the engine a lot easier than if it's cold. You don't want it hot because you don't want to burn yourself. Once it's draining and you think it's done, you can actually go to the top of the engine and open up the oil cap. And when you take the oil cap off, it'll actually relieve some pressure and more oil will actually come out of the engine. Okay, and then once it stops dripping, then we can remove the oil filter. Now the oil filter is tucked in the side here. You can see it right there, it's red. And here's a better angle. Now to get it off, you can use one of these wrenches. Now this wrench is too large to take the oil filter off, so that's not going to work. But if you take a rag and you actually put it in the wrench and actually grip the oil filter and turn it, and you can actually twist it and take the oil filter off. Once you get the wrench out of there, then you can use your hands to take it off. Now there's a trick on the internet about using a cup to catch the oil. Sometimes you can do that, sometimes you can't. This one here, the cup seems a little too large. It's getting hot on the side, so that's not going to work. Tighten it for a second, try a smaller cup. So I took this cup, I cut the top off, and I'm going to try and remove the oil filter using the cup. And honestly, this cup's not going to catch that much oil on it. It's too small. So that method's not going to work. So I'm just going to have to let the oil filter drain, catch all the oil I can, and just remove the oil filter. And it's a messy job. Okay, and once we get that off, we'll drain it out and we'll check out our new oil filter. Now before we install this, we're going to take some 0W20 oil, we'll put it on a paper towel, and we're just going to rub it onto the gasket of the oil filter. This will just make it seal better, this way it doesn't leak. Okay, and then we'll install the oil filter. We'll hand tighten it, and we'll turn it pretty tight. We'll get it on there so it's nice and snug. We don't want this leaking. Okay, then we'll take a paper towel, clean off the oil pan where it's dripping from before we put the drain plug in place. But before you install the drain plug, it's always good to change out the washer on it. This washer is known as a crush washer. We'll start by finger tightening it, and then we'll use the wrench, 17mm. We'll give it a turn. Make sure it's nice and tight. You don't want to over tighten it. You can use a torque wrench if you want. I just use a wrench, make sure it's nice and tight, but not too tight because you can strip the threads. And then we're going to use a funnel. And we're going to do this because the location to add the oil is at the front of the engine. And it's really hard to get to, and you're probably going to spill oil if you don't use a funnel. And then when it's time to add the oil, when you pour it from the canister, you're probably going to spill it if you hold it this way. Now normally you would think that's the way you should hold it, but honestly, if you tilt the oil canister on its side, it actually allows air to get in there and you're less likely to spill the oil. And then when it's time to check the oil, we'll pull out the dipstick, and you don't want to check it right away. You actually want to wipe the dipstick dry. Then you put it back in place, and then you can check the oil. Let's see, it looks dry there, so we need to add some more oil. Add some more. And then we'll put the dipstick back in place. check it, and we're just starting to see some oil. So we're good there. We can put the cap on, and then we can take the vehicle off the ramps. Once it's on a nice flat surface, we can check it again, and it's at the proper level. So we don't have to add any more. Now we just have to reset the oil light. And I have another video on how to reset the oil light, so you can check that out. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, think about subscribing to my YouTube channel, keep you up to date on all my future videos, and leave a comment about what you liked or what you didn't like. Thanks again for watching.